good morning. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo, with yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Hello, hi, good morning. Here I am. Check this out. I took the initiative. I finally had the time and the energy and the strength and the vision to finish what was started. So I needed to finish what was started. Here, let me show you. Time set noon.
So,
Wah, la, la, dum, bum, 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 bum. Is that a bat signal? What is that? Hey, it's that thing up there. Wait a minute. Where am I? Where am I that this is happening? So, I'm gonna go check it out a little bit. Gotta come out here and be like, yo, look at this. Oh, I fell in. I fell in the water. So yeah, the staircase is gone. And I turn around and I'm like, oh my, what's been happening here? Oh my. And then so I'm gonna go like jump off. Let's look. Ta-da! Ba-da-dum. So I've worked a little bit on Chanti's castle. So I mean, I didn't know where she was going or what she was doing with it. So I just kind of wanted to like finish off what she had started. So she didn't have a roof on there, so I put a roof on there, and I didn't understand what she was doing with the two sides. So I kind of just did it on my own. But yeah, I dig it. I dig it. So the way you get in here is like normal, right? Like you'd be walking in, oh, Chanti's castle, and you'd be walking up normal path, but now there's like a big wall here, and there's an entrance right there to the basement, but then you can go into like the main entrance, the main entrance of her house, and then we walk in, and you go like, oh yes, what a nice house. And here's like the main hallway, the main hall. Here's that side room that she had, and over here is where I made the train line back to my house. So yeah, and then you go over here, check out the rooms, and you go in deeper. And I just kind of like, I saw she was making a staircase, but it wasn't even. So I kind of tried to even it out. And I like go, oh yeah, the two sides, the two colors. And then on a higher level, they synthesize. Oh yes. And then now you have your little window overlooking everything. And you have your sunroof right here. And I didn't put a window there, but yeah. So there, Chanti's castle. So yeah, I kind of like think that's funny. You go thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Ha 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 on a higher level. And then over here, right? I always she always had stuff right here just like sitting here, and it was like kind of annoying. I'm like, why don't you like make a storage space? So this is what it was down here. I made her a little storage space. This is on the other side of the waterfall. The water is falling on that side. And over here is a nice space for Chanti to keep all her storage stuff when she makes a mine. That way the castle isn't just floating on nothing. It's actually built on top of something. And then yeah, then if she wants to, she can like, ooh, I can't see. You can leave out the front door or the side door. So that is what I've been working on. I just wanted to finish Chanti's castle. And now that means this world is pretty much done. Like I have built all the things I wanted to build before. That I couldn't build before because I didn't have the time or the energy in survival mode to do it. Like I didn't have the resources or anything. it would have taken me way too long to build all of this in survival. Like I tried, right? And it took me like 3 years before. So I managed, if I do it in creative, I can do it in 1 season instead of 3 years. But yeah. So if we remember, here, I like today seems kind of odd. I want to go over a bit of like, it seems like I've been on a long trip. I've been on a long trip. This show is part of that trip. I think it was 2017 when Donald Trump fired Comey and then invited all the Russians into the Oval Office and kicked out all the Americans. I think that was the moment I realized Donald Trump was a traitor, but I didn't have enough evidence at that point. I suspected, but I had no evidence. I mean, he was sitting there telling us that he was a traitor. He invited in the Russians into the Oval Office, and he kicked out all the Americans. I mean, the guy was telling us that he was betraying the United States. But at that point in 2017, I didn't have evidence. Then, as evidence started coming out and stories started coming out, I understood what was happening. I knew Donald Trump was allying with the Russians to overthrow democracy in the United States. I recognized the danger, but no one else understood. I didn't think anyone else knew what was going on. So in 2016, when Donald Trump was elected, I created this photo because I understood what was going to happen with Donald Trump as president. In 2018, that's when I think that's when he did the Helsinki meeting. And when Donald Trump met Vladimir Putin in Helsinki and then failed to condemn Vladimir Putin, I understood at that point Donald Trump was a traitor, and I tried to get out there and explain it to everybody that Donald Trump was a traitor. I mean, I literally stood outside wearing a sign saying that Donald Trump was a traitor. And I got so much hate from every angle of American society. Then, also, who came out there were pro-Russians, pro-fascists. They came out there and they started putting their signs at the Salem Saturday Market to promote fascism and to go against the United States. This is no joke, right? These people, this guy right here with his wife, literally came out here in 2018 with all these signs decrying the United States and praising Russia and Vladimir Putin. I couldn't believe it. I lost my shit. And so I like protested. I was out there all the time. All the time. These guys would show up to push for fascism. I was the only guy out there warning people that Donald Trump was a traitor and a Nazi. And then what reward did I get for like and then other people came out. This dude came out and he wanted to push more hate. This guy came out and tried to push hate. So and look, then his sign expanded. Look what he's doing to his sign. He expanded his sign to be full of hate. It was just, this guy's a hater. This guy says diversity is white genocide because this guy is a white supremacist. So this guy, white supremacist, comes out with a sign telling people that he's a white supremacist. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, so I made this show, right? I made this show to try to explain to people, to make it more clear that Donald Trump was betraying the United States and allying with dictators around the world to overthrow our democracy. I brought my cousin in, my cousin Captain Pones. I brought him in to try to explain it to him. Captain Pones lived in the house that our grandfather built. Our grandfather is a World War II veteran who was in a submarine that got sunk by the Germans, and his lung collapsed as he like exited the sinking sub. When he came back from the war, my grandfather and his brother built the house for him and his wife, my grandmother, to live in. And he raised his children, my mom and my aunts and uncles. my aunts, my mom and, when my grandfather died, my mom and dad moved in with my grandmother and lived there for like 5 years. And then my mom wanted her own house. So she moved our family away from Los Angeles and over to Carson City, Nevada. What a culture shock. When I moved out, in moved my cousin and his uncle. And my uncle. And they lived there for like 26 years. 20 something years, my cousin lived in the house that my grandfather, the World War II vet who fought Nazis to defend the American Constitution, he lived in that house for 26 years. And then I told him, look, guy, look, on our grandfather's grave, Donald Trump is a Nazi trying to overthrow the Constitution. And my cousin, the grandchild of this World War II vet, decided he was going to listen to Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin instead. So that kind of set me off. that was a betrayal. That's a betrayal. And I had many betrayals since. Many people chose to go with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin instead of me and the United States. A lot of people in my life. So I kind of like lost a lot of people. Kind of worked that way. It kind of works that way. So this wasn't free for me. This whole thing, this wasn't free. I had to endure a lot of shit. I had to like pretty much give up my career, and I had to like lose all my friends and most of my family. So why? To get this word out to you that Donald Trump is a traitor. And I tried for years and years and years. And this started in 2018, and now 2022, people are starting to finally come around. Maybe, right? Because Donald Trump has this shadow army of Nazis that he calls upon to attack the United States. Though they're already starting to attack for Donald Trump. That one guy tried to attack the FBI office with a nail gun because he thought a nail gun would puncture bulletproof glass. Then he ran out to a cornfield, and when he was surrounded, he got killed. And then the next day, all his friends, all his supporters, who were also Trump supporters, who also wanted to overthrow the United States, they all denied his martyrdom. Oh, that guy killed himself for Donald Trump? Oh, that was a false flag. We don't even believe it happened. Wow. And then I read another story about this morning, about another guy who rammed the barricades in DC before getting out and shooting into the air a gun and then killing himself. Like, how much you want to bet that guy too was a Donald Trump supporter who also wants to overthrow the United States because Donald Trump told him to? So yeah, stuff's going on, guys. It's no joke. Like, look at this thing. Donald Trump at CPAC, they have a golden calf, a golden version of Donald Trump, which they all worshipped. At their last meeting, oh shit, I closed the wrong window. At their last CPAC meeting, they had oh, did I save it? Oh, I didn't save it. Oh yeah, I did. They even said so. They said they are all domestic terrorists. Oh darn. All right, activate smaller shield. Oh, I don't need it. Okay. Down. Okay. Oops. So they are gearing up. Donald Trump is gearing up his shadow army to attack the United States. else do we got? All right, so Patrick S. Tomlinson has this good point. Nuclear weapon secrets are not keepsakes. They're not the big, beautiful letter from Kim Jong un or a birthday card from Vladimir Putin. The only reason to take them is to sell them or to use them in trade. The only reason is treason. Donald Trump stole all those top secret documents, not because he wanted to keep mementos, like he kept mementos from his best friend Kim Jong Un, from the dictator from North Korea. It's not a birthday card from his best friend Vladimir Putin. Nuclear secrets, you don't just keep those. The only reason to have them is to sell them or to trade them for something of value. So, and those don't belong to Donald Trump. He stole them. Those belong to the United States. And Donald Trump stole them for his own personal benefit. So it's clear Donald Trump and his minions are willing to sacrifice our entire country for their own benefit. They have no problem screwing over every single person in this country for their own benefit. They have absolutely no loyalty to the United States whatsoever. They have only loyalty to themselves. So everyone complained about gas prices or complained about inflation. Joe Manchin killed the Democratic agenda because he complained about inflation. He said, oh, inflation. I can't pass the Democratic agenda. I can only pass the Republican agenda because inflation. That's all Joe Manchin talked about. In fact, he renamed the Republican bill to the Inflation Reduction Act, away from the Build Back Better Act, because it's a Republican bill. It was worse than the counteroffer than the Republicans offered. What am I talking about that? But inflation was a red herring. It was just an albatross to hang on the necks of the Democrats to blame them for something. When really, when we want to look at it, hey, where's this guy at? Gregory Brew lets us know. He's the oil guy, my oil guy. He says it was gas prices all along. Why? Because look at the inflation. Core rises just 0.3%. Headline has been expected to rise of 0.2%, or looking at 0.5%, and it was just 0.3%. It was hardly at all. Inflation is gone. Why did inflation go away? Because gas prices are going down. Inflation didn't happen because the United States gave people $2,000 one time. That's not why inflation happened. Inflation happened because gas prices were out of control. Because remember, during COVID, we had a glut of gas. When we had that glut of gas, our gas prices dropped to like 83 cents a gallon. And gas producers were losing money hand over foot. They were totally losing money. So they're like, we don't want to ever do that again. So the rebound from those low gas prices were these really, really high gas prices. And the really, really high gas prices affect all the prices of everything else, because everything else is based on oil, the price of oil. It costs money to get your farm stuff from the farm to the market. It doesn't just fly there. It costs gas to truck them from the farm to the market, so that if gas prices go up, everything else goes up too. That's what this is saying. That's what this is. Oh, that's not that one. That's what this is saying. Our inflation went down when gas prices went down. It had nothing to do with what bill was passed, because that bill didn't have time to go into effect. The Inflation Reduction Act hasn't even had time. It hasn't even been signed by President Joe Biden yet. So it's not that the Democrats did anything. It's not that the Democrats did anything. It's that gas prices went down, so inflation went down. It had nothing to do with Joe Biden. It had nothing at all. And blaming Joe Biden for gas prices was pretty stupid. I think the one good thing Joe Biden did was release the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So he kept his release of that of our reserves keeps the market from being so volatile. Remember, gas prices during COVID, they dropped down super low. And all of a sudden, to recuperate from that, they went really, really high. So this up and down is crazy, and it wrecks prices. Joe Biden released the American gas reserves, and that kept volatility from going crazy and kept it more even keel. That helped inflation more than anything else. Than the Inflation Reduction Act. So it wasn't because we gave people $2,000 that inflation went crazy. It was because gas prices due to COVID is what made inflation go crazy. Now that gas prices are under control, inflation is under control again. All right. Then another thing. A false thing that I've been hearing is that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to have a bunch of IRS agents who are going to like attack you. That's the stupidest thing ever. $80 billion in funding are going to go to replacing workers who are quitting. There are already workers who are retiring because they are old. So you need to replace them. You need to rehire people. But the Republicans have defunded the IRS because they didn't want their rich buddies to be audited. So because the IRS had no money, they couldn't replace their workers. So the Inflation Reduction Act is going to give them money to replace their workers, and audit rates are going to go up on people who earn more than $400,000. The reason why Republicans defunded the IRS was because they did not want the IRS to audit people who made more than $400,000 a year, because those people are hard to audit. They're hard to audit. They take all these deductions and they try to get out of paying taxes. If the IRS doesn't have enough people, then they're going to go after the easy people who are the poor people. So by refunding the IRS, they can go after the rich people who are the ones who owe taxes anyways. So that's a good thing. Republicans are the ones who are against the IRS. And you know this because when you watch stupid shows like Alex Jones and you listen to the advertisements, all the advertisements are for people who try to like cheat their taxes. All of them. It's or health supplements for old people. It's so bad. So you know that their target audience are old people who are trying to avoid paying taxes. Like, oh, geez. All right, what's another thing I got? Yeah, so Taiwan. That's going to become a bigger issue the more we go. So let's talk about real quick about what's the deal with Taiwan? What happened here? What's going on? Okay, so this Taiwan started in World War II. Taiwan wants to call itself Republic of China. Well, wait a minute. I thought they were Taiwan. Well, yeah, they're Taiwan, but they call themselves the Republic of China because they used to have control of all of China. They used to be the government for all of China. They used to be over here. They used to be over here. But they got invaded by the Japanese. And the Japanese carved out a huge chunk of China, like the whole northern part of China, and then Korea, and they called it like Manchukuo or something. They said it's not China anymore, it's called Manchukuo. So the Republic of China is like, oh crap, we're getting they're getting their butts kicked. So the Republic of China was like losing to imperialist Japan. And then so inside China, they had another force rise up called the People's Liberation Army. So now the communists, the Maoists, are also fighting the People's Republic of China, or the Republic of China. So now the Republic of China is fighting Imperial Japan, and it's fighting this insurgency of Maoists, of communists. So Republic of China has been weakened by the attack by Japan. So they lose. Not only do they lose, like they lose to Japan, and they lose to the insurgency, the Maoists, and they retreat to Taiwan, the island. So the Maoists control all of mainland China, and they call themselves the People's Republic of China. And the Republic of China, what's left of them, all retreated to Taiwan, and they call themselves the Republic of China. So there's the Republic of China, and then there's the People's Republic of China. Well, the People's Republic of China in 1970 said, you know what, this is not possible. We cannot do this. This is dumb. We do not have the military to literally conquer Taiwan and destroy the the Republic of China. That's the other government. We cannot invade Taiwan to take over this government. So we want all the world to just accept that there's one China. There's no Republic of China. There's no such thing as Republic of China. There's only People's Republic of China. There's only one China. That's what China in the 1970s want to say. And so all the world says, oh, we don't want to make these people angry. We don't want to cause problems. We will agree to it. But in the meantime, Taiwan's still trucking along as if it's independent. They have their own government. They have their own money. They have their own laws. They have their own legal system. They have their own tax system. They have their own government of Ministry of Culture. They have their own regulations. They have their own agreements with foreign governments. They are independent in every other way, except from what these guys say. Every other way, these guys are independent. They might speak a similar language, but who cares? Remember, China has 1,000 languages, has a bunch of languages. Let me see. Let me grab that out of here. Just because they speak a similar language doesn't mean they're the same country. Remember, China is very, very diverse. They speak a lot of different languages and have a lot of different cultures in China. That's why it's hard to say one China, because inside China it's a whole bunch of groups, and for a lot of time, for centuries, all these groups were fighting each other, and there was never a unified China. I mean, maybe for a short time, China unified for a little bit, but then they broke apart, and then they unified, then they broke apart, now they're unified, sort of. So just because Taiwan speaks the same language as mainland, part of mainland China, doesn't mean it's part of China. Taiwan is its own entity. It's its own separate deal. So what happened? So since the 1970s, China has been releasing papers called white papers. And the purpose of these white papers is for China to explain to the world why they are going to take over Taiwan. But what's interesting is to see how the deal has changed over the years. In 1993, China said that there would be a high degree of autonomy, including administrative, legislative, independent judicial, final adjudication rights, autonomy over party, government, military, economy, financial matters. China will not send troops or government personnel, and unofficial exchanges with foreign governments are okay in 1993, right? In 2002, the white paper said China will not send troops or government personnel, and that unofficial exchanges with government officials okay. But in the latest paper in 2002, now it's changed. Now the white paper changed. Now they're saying external forces are using Taiwan as a pawn to undermine China's development and progress and obstruct the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. I don't know what they're talking about. Taiwan does not pose any threat whatsoever to China. There's no way Taiwan threatens China. There's no way. There's no threat whatsoever. They don't have any missiles. They have no reason. There's no reason to threaten Taiwan or to China. Taiwan does not have any imperialistic goals of retaking China. Maybe if Taiwan wants to assuage the fears, assuage whatever the fears of of People's Republic of China, maybe they should drop the Republic of China thing. Like, it's time to drop the Republic of China and just call yourself Taiwan. Dude, be an independent country. You're not Republic of China, you're Taiwan. If you call yourself Taiwan, then People's Republic of China won't think that you're coming for them. Just call yourself Taiwan. Then People's Republic of China doesn't feel like there's this island just off its coast that wants to take over the mainland and call it Republic of China. Just call yourself Taiwan. That will solve a lot of problems. Also, there's a lack of details on the two systems compared. I colored this wrong. There's a lack of details on the two systems compared with 1993 and 2000 papers, suggesting an arrangement that might involve less political and legal autonomy. So I want to break this down even more. So the 2002 white paper, the 2022 white paper said the Taiwan would maintain current social system and a high degree of autonomy, and it can have economic and cultural exchanges with foreign governments. Do you see how that changed? This does not leave room for unofficial foreign exchanges with foreign governments. It says it can have cultural and economic exchanges, but no unofficial exchanges. So the Pelosi visit is now not permissible by People's Republic of China. Wow, they changed their tune. It used to be okay. It used to be okay. In 1993, unofficial exchanges, okay. In 2002, unofficial exchanges, okay. All of a sudden, in 2022, no, you can't do it anymore, Taiwan. We won't allow it. You can have economic and cultural exchanges, but you cannot have unofficial exchanges with foreign governments. People's Republic of China is exerting control over Taiwan. So how do they do that? They instituted a blockade around Taiwan to make sure with their military. So China sent their military to blockade an independent nation to make sure that they couldn't do their trade or anything. Why? Because this independent nation had an unofficial visit with a foreign government. This was okay back in 2002. This was okay in 1993. But suddenly in 2022, now China is getting upset, like a boyfriend, like an ex-boyfriend that wants to control what their ex-girlfriend does. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So Pelosi comes to visit Taiwan, and in response, China does a force choke and strangles Taiwan by blockading the entire country. So economic activity cannot happen, and Taiwan loses money. Why? Why? Only because China didn't like the person visiting Taiwan. That's why. Because People's Republic of China is trying to overtake Taiwan. They promise a war to use military force if Taiwan does not go to China. They promise. What does that mean? What does that mean to the United States? So okay, first of all, we have to know this isn't really about United States and People's Republic of China. This isn't about these two, United States and China. That's their own deal. United States and China have their own deal up here, separate from Taiwan, right? Taiwan's another thing. USA, China have their own deal. They're doing their thing. Over here, though, the reason why the United States is involved is because, number one, Taiwan, we have a deal with Taiwan. We wrote this policy back in the day, I forget when, the 90s, that asserts that we will be friends with Taiwan, that we're friends with Taiwan. So there's number one. Number two, when Darth China wanted to threaten Taiwan, it fired missiles from China over Taiwan. When it did that, it also fired missiles over or into Japan. Japan is our friend too. So China is also threatening Japan. It's also threatening Japan. It wasn't, you thought, you would think, oh, China's only interested in Taiwan. No, China's also threatening its neighbor, Japan. So if you're threatening our two friends, these are two friends of the United States. These are our buddies. Like we have laws, we have economic ties, cultural ties, all sorts of ties with Japan and Taiwan. And now China's threatening them. So they're threatening the stability. The region's making money. The region's safe. The region's is humming along. Everyone's doing great. But China is threatening that by threatening war. Everyone will lose money if China starts a war. Taiwan will lose money. Japan will lose money. China will lose money. Everyone loses money if China acts belligerent. So it's in the interests of the United States to maintain calm and maintain peace in the region. Why is China acting like Darth Vader? Because it's acting like an ex-boyfriend that wants to control its ex-partner. Exactly. This is exactly what's going on. So yeah, what have we been doing? So Joe Biden and the Republicans and the Democrats, they got the PACT Act passed. That's pretty good. The infrastructure bill got passed. That's pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like what I wanted, but it's something. Infrastructure bill. So they finished infrastructure week. They finished the stuff for vets. NATO got expanded by including Sweden and Finland. We're getting the climate bill finished. We had I think our unemployment rate's down to like 3%. Biden killed like an Al Qaeda guy while he had COVID. The Democrats signed the CHIPS bill to reintroduce chip manufacturing into the United States. Biden nominated a whole bunch of judges for the Fed. I guess he signed a gun bill. I don't know if it was a very good gun bill. Yeah, so Biden's doing, and the Democrats have done pretty good. When you compare Biden's legislative agenda to when Republicans had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. That's when Donald Trump, 2016 to 2018. Donald Trump had control, and Republicans had control of the House, the Senate, and the what's it called? And the presidency. And so when they had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, what was the great thing that they managed to pass? They could only pass one thing. The Republicans, when they had control of the government, they only passed one thing. It was a tax act through reconciliation. And the great accomplishment of the Republicans during their absolute control of the government was to lower the tax of billionaires to be the lowest in the country. The great legislative accomplishment of Republicans was to make billionaires pay the lowest taxes ever in the United States. So we can compare that with the Democratic accomplishments. What the Democrats do? They did that. So you can weigh tax cuts for billionaires or benefits for veterans. Tax cuts for billionaires or climate change. Tax cuts for billionaires or infrastructure bill. Tax cuts for billionaires or gun control legislation. So think carefully, America, when you think about who you want to vote for in next election. Tax cuts for billionaires or stuff for regular Americans. Think about it. All right. So, this is the image. This is the map that will help. All right, so Taiwan is an independent nation. China wants to take over Taiwan, and China says, oh, Taiwan, you're not independent. But Taiwan is independent, and it's trying to fight off its bigger autocratic neighbor. Likewise, Ukraine is an independent nation. It's independent. Russia wants to say that Ukraine doesn't exist and that it's part of Russia, but that's not true. Ukraine is its own separate entity with its own laws, its own culture, its own identity, its own money, its own everything. So Ukraine is closer to Taiwan than it is to Russia. Russia is an autocratic nation, not ruled by laws, not ruled by democracy, but ruled by power. China is an autocratic nation that's not ruled by laws, not ruled by justice, but ruled by power. The party controls everything, and you do not have any freedom there, because if you try to say something against the party, they will hurt you. So don't let them confuse you. Use this map to make it very clear that Ukraine and Taiwan are linked as emergent democracies. Russia and China are linked as autocratic bullies who try to bully their neighbors. This map will help you understand what's going on in the world. So I've already spent how many years telling you that Donald Trump and the Republicans are traitors? I've spent years telling you this. There's nothing else I can tell you that's going to change your mind. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you don't know, and you will never know. But it's coming down to the wire now. Donald Trump is realizing he has no other cards to play other than starting a civil war. That's the only card that Donald Trump has left. The only thing he can do now is to start a civil war to save his ass. And that's what he's trying to do. That's what Fox is trying to do. That's what Donald Trump is trying to do. And that's what Donald Trump allies are trying to do. They're trying to start a civil war in the United States so that Donald Trump can be saved. Because Donald Trump only cares about Donald Trump. He's not going to care about anyone who dies in the Civil War. He only cares about himself. Remember, that guy who tried to attack the FBI agency, they already called him a false flag. They already denied that he even existed. Do you think he's going to care about anybody who tries to fight a war in the name of Donald Trump? He's going to denounce you the moment that's beneficial for him. He has no loyalty whatsoever. He will throw you away. He will betray you. Donald Trump is worthless. You need to leave him. It's not worth hurting your fellow Americans for Donald Trump. He will leave you the second it's convenient for him. Just look what he's doing already to his people. He's already betraying his people. Donald Trump is not your friend. Take a look at your fellow Americans who have been fighting forever to increase not just their own benefit, but the benefit of all Americans, for everyone. There's a clear distinction between Donald Trump and the people who are fighting for everyone. All you have to do is look. All you have to do is look, and it becomes clear. Okay, America, until next time, Pogokiro out. Peace.